blue.
100%. Hey guys, welcome to the Superherocuts podcast where we talk about things Marvel, DC, and Star Wars. It's your boy Stevie Hayes, joined by Jerry, aka Comic Cuts. Brother, how you doing, my man? What's going on?
Fantastic. It's Fantastic Four. How are you? That was
Dude,
funny. I should
bro,
have
we
done
need
that.
to find some Fantastic Four green screen backgrounds, bro. Like, I'm like,
Yes.
for real. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look, man, see if they got some Baxter stuff. That'll be fun.
The problem is that we don't have an epic Fantastic Four movie to take backgrounds from.
100%. 100%.
Like Batman, I mean, the Nolan trilogy, there are just so many epic visuals that I could use that are like perfect.
Yep. Nolan does have epic visuals.
Yeah.
I just hate talking about Crossing. Yo, talking about Christopher Nolan just makes my balls itch. I don't know, man. All right, so
Whoa, what?
like it just
No,
makes me feel weird.
Well, we got to keep it
Giving
PG,
Nolan his
especially in the first like 15 minutes for the algorithm. So don't even go there. We'll revisit it.
Talking about Nolan, I'm not gonna get crazy. Talking about Nolan just makes me feel weird sometimes. But respect to Christopher Nolan and all that he's done. I'm not gonna trash him yet. Until Jerry says that it's better than the Batman, then I'll get mad. All right, let's get right into the podcast. So we are so happy that you guys are here. We have a lot of things to talk about. This episode is really about breaking down just D23 and everything that's going on. Episode number 82. But by the way, guys, almost at 100. So we're gonna get right into it. So the first trailer that we're going to talk about is Daredevil Born Again. Now, I'm gonna kind of talk about the breakdown of the trailer, but without giving any detail to what you like, Jerry. Just one answer. Did you like the trailer?
Yeah. I don't know how someone could watch that and not like it.
I 100% agree. All right, now I'm gonna read this breakdown I have, and then I just want to hear, Jerry, just your thoughts on everything. Okay, so a few things that we see Kingpin's rise to power. Okay, Kingpin is doing his thing. He's about to get involved in the government, and this is something that that Jerry and I have talked about that was going to happen from when we first started podcasting on here, right? And so it's finally amazing to see that come to life. It is also public knowledge, between Kingpin and Murdoch about his alter ego. They actually have a conversation about it, which is super hilarious. I didn't know if they were going to retcon that or not, bro. So I'm happy that they're keeping everything that happened with it seems like everything that happened in the Netflix show, they're just continuing that, which I'm super happy about because I was afraid, bro, that they were going to scratch it all. We also see that Muse is going to be the main villain for the show, and Muse looks freaking terrifying. Like, he looks freaking nuts. We also finally see that John Bernthal is back as the Punisher. We see Frank Castle and Daredevil in a fight, which is, I think, was super cool to us to see in action. We also see Foggy and Karen back. We also see that Bullseye. He is in this trailer, but it seems like he's in jail. And if you guys don't know, right, at the end of the Daredevil show, the old one, he did get paralyzed. So it seems like he has healed up, which is very, interesting because, we saw some set photos of Bullseye, walking around. So I am excited to see him back in action as well. What is super weird about this trailer is that we see a cameo, and the cameo was Kamala Khan's father, which is very odd that he's playing a part in the story. And to be honest, it threw me off. We also see in this trailer the many helmets of the freaking Daredevil, which is showing that we will probably see multiple costumes in this show as well. And lastly, we also see the White Tiger, Hector Ayala. And you and I talked about this like months ago, where I told you, I thought that the White Tiger, they were going to go the female route because that's kind of the way that the MCU has been going, but they ended up going with the male version of that character, which I'm really excited about. So that's really all of the main things from the trailer that was shown. So how do you feel about it? What are some of your favorite things from this, and what has you super excited about this show?
Everything. First of all, Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin is one of the best castings. John Bernthal as Punisher is also one of the best castings, and John Bernthal's Punisher just on its own is probably in my top 10 favorite superhero portrayals of all time. Guy absolutely killed it. And, you know, I just think that they are like Daredevil Born Again with all these characters is shaping up to be it's have the best MCU touch to the Netflix Daredevil show. You know, they're keeping the Punisher involved. They're using a big bad like Kingpin with also a little bad like Bullseye, who I also think Bullseye is a great character. And I love the, kind of character study on him in the Netflix show. And I think that's the right move, by the way, because Netflix really struck gold with Daredevil. MCU is kind of just taking that baton and building on it a little bit, but it doesn't really seem like they are, it's not broke, don't fix it type of thing. I'm interested in what they're doing with Kamala Khan's father, Yusuf Khan. He's not a villain. Like, he kind of looked like a villain, or he might be involved in some bad things. That's not who he is in the comics. So I don't know what they're doing there, but sounds interesting. Listen, the other thing that I think fans need to realize, and I wouldn't say this for all franchises, but the MCU is the blueprint. Everyone's trying to emulate and copy what the MCU did. Sometimes things could, when you've earned as much credit as the MCU has, you could originate things in the show that maybe didn't originate in the comics, especially with characters like Yusuf Khan. I would say, not so much with characters like Daredevil and the Punisher, like those ones you really need to respect the source material. But Yusuf Khan, have a field day, okay? He's not a significant character. He might be important to some fans if you're a big fan of Miss Marvel. I get that, but you can't argue that he's a significant character because he's just not. All right. And yeah, I think the show's going to be awesome.
What about freaking Muse? Like Muse, bro, he looked terrifying, bro. That mask he had on looked freaking insane.
Yeah, for sure. So, it's not broke. Don't fix it. And I also like that. So the Netflix Daredevil show is obviously super grounded, but this is going to be that and grounded, just with more MCU style character involvement. There's going to be more crossover to it, but it's still going to be that grounded Daredevil Netflix type of show. And, I just got to give Netflix a lot of credit because they sold Daredevil to a ton of fans who weren't necessarily MCU fans. I have a lot of people that I know that loved Daredevil, never watched an MCU project before. And I also know people who love Daredevil and it got them interested in the MCU. And now they are MCU fans. And, I think we got to give more credit to the projects that do that and win us over new fans, because those are few and far in between, especially these days.
Yes, and like looking back, right, you can tell that Hawkeye and the Echo show, those it seems like they were maybe using those shows to test it out. Like, can we go that dark? And Daredevil is like the final boss, like that. Like, this is the final product of what they were trying like to do with those two shows. And I'm happy that they're not going away from what made Daredevil great. Because you and I have talked about this a lot. It worked for Nolan, but for a lot of guys, you can't really diverge from the originality of a character, and it works, right? But I am excited that they are using a similar and same style with this show, but also like Daredevil, like he's not going to be afraid to be a superhero. And not saying that in Netflix that was the case. I think that Netflix really focused on the sidekick and the character of Charlie Cox's character, and it seems like Feige is like, okay, like you guys know who this guy is, and if you want to know the info, you watched these last seasons, but now he's going to be a hero. Now, like this is going to be a Avenger, you know what I mean? And so Daredevil Born Again is like we are like we've seen we've seen Matt go through hell. Now it's time for him to shine as the hero, and that's what has me really excited. And same for the Punisher. You know, I'm more than sure that he could possibly be in some other projects as well, and I'm excited to see all of these characters. And there's rumors of Jessica Jones also being pulled into the MCU as well. She might be in this show. Really excited to see these characters bloom.
I
With
also
the
wouldn't
show
be
happening.
surprised to see. And I'm not saying it's definitely going to happen, but if there is a Disney Plus show where Spider-Man is going to be, it is Daredevil Born Again. The other thing too is we went through a period where origin movies were the thing to do. I mean, it was like every superhero for a long time in the 2000s were origin movies. And a lot of that, I think, came with having to win fans over. Like, I remember when I was really little, I loved superhero stuff. And then I felt like I kind of grew out of it. And then I remember movies like Spider-Man and Batman Begins came out. And I was like, oh, so he's not just a guy that could swing from building to building and climb walls because it's a cool story. He got bit by a spider and got the powers. Like, I didn't understand that, and that made me spark my interest again. But we're in 2024. The MCU is huge. DCU is about to be huge. All the major characters have had their origin told at least once. Daredevil's had it told on screen twice now with the Ben Affleck movie and the show. And I think that with those characters where the origin has been told once or twice, they're not doing it again. They didn't do it for Spider-Man and Homecoming. They're not doing it for Fantastic Four and Fantastic Four First Steps. Actually, we don't know that because the First Steps thing does seem to be space related. But there are a lot of characters that, like Batman, they didn't do it again for the Batman. Iron Man, they had to do it because, no one was really familiar with him at the time. Daredevil, they don't. And I think it's important to not necessarily acknowledge to all of us that we know that these movies and shows or whatever exist. But, if you want to see a Daredevil origin story, it's there. And chances are, if you're a fan, you've already seen it. And I think it's important to move with that mentality. And that's something that Kevin Feige has consistently done.
1000%, bro. And by the way, I think this whole D23 for Marvel was a W overall. I think that they showcased their projects very well, and I think that fans are really excited. And having three projects that seem very dark is very different because Brave New World, Thunderbolts, and Born Again are all dark projects. So I'm really excited that that they're trying to reach the more mature crowd, right? And that's kind of pattern. I mean, you have Deadpool and Wolverine, where a lot of kids did see it, but it's a rated R film, and they're trying to kind of follow that same pattern. I don't think the Thunderbolts will be R, but it is a darker film. So yeah, Daredevil Born Again, the trailer is awesome. Jerry and I are super excited. We can't wait to cover the crap out of that show, and I cannot wait to see that red costume, man. Oh, I can't wait to see it in action.
Yeah, and a lot of government involvement. Brave New World, obviously, Thunderbolts,
Kingpin,
Kingpin. I like stories like that. I think that they fare well for Marvel.
So let's just say 2025 is gonna be a fun year for us.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna have a great time, man. And even Superman's having some government stuff going on too. So it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting. It's just an interesting story for the time that we're in. Also,
yeah,
we'll see how they play into that. Hopefully they don't go too far into the Superman is an alien, and I don't even want to go there, but you get
yeah. Basically, stay in your universe. Basically, stay in your universe. Make it your universe. Yep.
Yeah.
And not the CW universe, but the original. Oh man. All right. Now let's get to the next topic. This is probably my most like I am excited for the Fantastic Four, but I am really excited for Thunderbolts. And you and I have been kind of I feel like we're like one of the only people on YouTube hype about this. I don't see a lot of people hype about Thunderbolts like we are. But let's talk about it. So there was a trailer that came out for Thunderbolts, and a lot of people are shocked. I feel like a lot of people thought that. Do you feel the same where you like a lot of people thought that this was going to be a bad film? Or is
I
it
never
just
thought
me?
it was going to be a bad movie.
No,
I
no,
literally
no,
never.
no. I'm saying like, did you feel like other people in our space thought that this was going to be bad? I feel like a lot of people were kind of questioning this film a lot and thinking like, is
Yeah,
this going to be bad or
you
good?
know,
Like, no one was definite.
I think that there are a lot of characters in the show that people aren't familiar with, and I think it's easier for people to get hyped up when they see comic fans get hyped up about something. Or like I feel like people get so hyped up about Sentry because Sentry looks like a classical superhero. He's got the trunks, as much as I hate him. He's got the cape. He's jacked. The long hair is a little unique, but the rest of it, he just looks like a classical superhero. And but he's not really a significant character in the Marvel universe. And it's just like it was a major, it was a big revelation about our fandom for me when people got hyped up about Sentry. And I just don't think that any of that really applies. Like the reasons that non-comic fans get hyped up about certain characters, I don't think that really applies for a lot of the characters in the Thunderbolts. I don't really think it applies to Yelena, even though people kind of like her. I definitely don't think it applies to Ghost. I don't think it applies to U.S. Agent, although I think, people should like him. I love him. And, who's the other? Oh, and Bucky, people like, obviously. But, I think this is an important movie for Marvel because it is the first new team, like, in a really long time. We haven't seen a new team be introduced to the Marvel Universe since the first Guardians of the Galaxy. So it's a very long time since we've had anything like that. But the Thunderbolts, I think, is a cool story. I'm really curious to how it's going to play into the main storyline that's going to be driving Doomsday and Secret Wars, because it does seem like an oddball on that story track. And I hope it ties in, because I think we need more projects to tie into that storyline than less at this point.
100% agree. So let's read the breakdown of this and then let's talk more about it. So the footage begins with Yelena paying a visit to the Red Guardian to tell her adoptive father that there's something wrong with her, that she does not feel fulfilled by her work at all. We then get quick shots of Ghost, Bucky Barnes, and U.S. Agent and Taskmaster as they all converge in the same location and begin to fight it out to the strains of Pixies, where is my mind. Yelena comes to the realization that they all have been sent to the same place in hopes that they'll take each other out, which is when they meet Bob, played by Louis Pillman. We don't see him in Sentry mode, unfortunately, but rumor has it that he does indeed suit up at some point in the movie, and we do see him grab the Sentry belt, which a lot of fans are hyped about. We then see more of the team in action, along with Valentina greeting this crew of crazy freaking assassins, and the trailer ends with a fun scene with Red Guardian droning on, and Yelena telling her new team that she finds it best to try to ignore him. This is one of the best trailers I've seen in a while. I ain't gonna lie. The fight scene with the Ghost was actually insanity. Did you see that fight scene with Ghost, bro? Where she was phasing and grabbing the knot, like,
Yeah.
bro, they freaking threw the knives and she phased out and phased back in and grabbed it, bro. I was like, what is going on?
It does look good. I do think they need to figure something out with Ghost storyline because, you know, I just feel like and I like all three of the Ant-Man movies. I think the Ant-Man trilogy is probably one of the most underrated trilogies or movies individually in the MCU. And I really like Ant-Man and the Wasp, but I think a lot of Ghost's story worked in that movie because of Lawrence Fishburne as I forget his character's name, but you know they're gonna have to make her work without that. And there are other characters in the story, but that's what I'm curious about. I know the action is going to be cool. I have no doubt about that. You know, we have Bucky in there. We have U.S. Agent. I mean, we are going to get some like top tier action. You know, and people like Ghost, and then Yelena, like Red Guardian, who's I hate the word comic relief, but like that, he's obviously going to be like the funny, goofy one. You know, I don't need to be relieved from my Marvel movies with comedy.
Exactly.
That's for the soft fans.
Yeah. So we're going to say he's the funny one.
Yeah, exactly. He's the funny one. You know. But yeah. So listen, I think Ghost is a super cool character. I also hope they make Taskmaster work. I wish they didn't do the gender swap. That was another super annoying thing. But I also happen to really like the actor that is playing that and has played Taskmaster, Olga Kurylenko. You know, I mentioned this to you earlier. She was the Bond girl in Quantum of Solace. You know, that was the one that Bond was kind of like, you know, don't let the emotion, you know, impact your shooting. You know, she didn't really know how to shoot. And he was teaching her how to, you know, quick fire to shoot someone who killed her father, mother, or both. I forget. You know, it happens to be the worst of the Daniel Craig Bond movies, but whatever. Gorgeous girl, still a good actor. And, you know, she also played the girl in the first of the two Hitman movies. And I think she's been in a couple other things. So, you know, a lot of times, a lot of these foreign actors who are in roles like this, they get recognition from like people in the action world, like myself, but they don't get that name recognition to the mainstream American movie fans. So I think that there are a lot of MCU fans who don't really know who she is. They probably thought she looked familiar in Black Widow, but couldn't put their finger on it. But she's a great actor, you know, and they already did the gender swap. I know it sucks. It pisses me off. Taskmaster is one of the coolest villains in the Marvel universe. So that was a bad one to do it. And they're not done doing it. They're doing it again with Fantastic Four. And you could always rely on me to call it out because I'll never get tired of getting pissed off about it. And, you know, I think, listen, stupid things and especially stuff like this, it deserves to be mocked. And the reason that we need to mock it is to hopefully get them to stop making these terrible decisions. So for the fans out there who are like, oh, well, you know, whatever, it's not a big deal. Like, no, it is a big deal, and we are going to call it out. All right. And, you know, but yeah, I hope they make her, you know, give her some more involvement with the story because in Black Widow, and I like that movie too, you know, they made her backstory like so emotional and depressing. But when she finally takes off the mask, like we didn't get anything out of her performance. So the gender swap didn't even work for their intention. It was so dumb. And that's another thing that makes me question. It just makes me question their intentions because it's like, you didn't really do anything with it. What was it? Just to piss fans off who like Taskmaster? So whatever. It is what it is. Thunderbolts, I think, is going to be a great movie, and I think that you know all of the characters in Thunderbolts are cool. Like I don't think there's anyone on the roster that I'm like, whatever about. You know, I think the Taskmaster thing is the one that I'm like, ugh. You know, but I still think Taskmaster's a cool character, and I like her as an actor. And but and I think that's rare because there's a lot of times there are, these super teams or these big movies, and there's like a character that you're like, I hope she doesn't get a lot of screen time or he doesn't get a lot of screen time. That's not the case with Thunderbolts. I also really like the asterisk hat with that Kevin Feige was wearing, but it
We
wasn't.
need
It
those
was
hats, dude. We need those hats.
we need those hats, and it was
Yeah.
an asterisk that was
Let me see what's on
made
Amazon.
out of bullets. The lines on the asterisk was bullets, and Kevin Feige said, my son was like, "Is that a Walmart hat?" But it does look like a Walmart hat. But yeah, I think it's going to be a great movie. I think Thunderbolts is going to blow people away in the way that Guardians of the Galaxy did, and once it does, people will be able to say it's an important MCU movie.
Dang, so that they're not up yet, but the second they are, bro, we are copying because those
Yeah,
hats are
100%.
fire. Those
So
hats are really
fun.
fire.
Yeah.
So with Ghost, they do need to, and it's not going to be hard for them to give a explanation. The only plot hole is that in Ant-Man and the Wasp, the reason why Ghost was like doing all this stuff was to find a cure for her powers, for her to control it, because she had a hard time trying to control her powers. So you have to give Ghost a reason. My guess is that maybe what they gave her stopped working. So Valentina is probably the one that saved her, which sent her on this, because the whole premise is that Valentina sent all of them in that room where they all fought each other. And
Yeah.
maybe that was going to be like a last man standing, but then they become a team. Who knows? So they do have to write. They do have to figure that out. And in regards to Task Master, I do think Black Widow set it up pretty good. Why, like, they set it up well for, like, with the daughter being caught in the bomb, her body got jacked up, they did some surgery on her, she ended up becoming Task. I felt like there was weight to that plot. The only issue is that when the mask comes off, Jerry, as you said, she had no dialogue, she had no type of gravitas to her personality at all, and that's what kind of ruined. And I do think the gender swap is corny, and to be honest, I would have put, this is my opinion, I would have put Taskmaster in either Spider-Man or Captain America or Falcon in the what's the show?
Winter Soldier.
Yes, I think Taskmaster would have done a better job in a show like that, where it can actually showcase Taskmaster being more than just a fighder.
And by the
So
way,
that's just my opinion with that one. I wasn't a big fan of that one. And you know me, like like I don't like, there's certain gender swaps that I don't mind, but with Task, like, you also got to take a look at what fans grew up with, and if you watch the Spider-Man shows back in the day, or the Avenger shows, Taskmaster was always a dude, and everybody knew that Taskmaster was dope that way. So, like, not even from like a hate fan standpoint, like from a practical standpoint, like, you would want to go with what people grew up with. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're introducing a character to normie people that don't really know about who Taskmaster is, because then if they research him, you see that Taskmaster was in Spider-Man shows, and it all lines up. So that's my only issue with, like, the Taskmaster. Even though, like, the plot was good for him, for Taskmaster, but it wasn't good overall, to the
even
future.
if there is one comic out there, which I don't think there is with Taskmaster, like one comic out there where, in some alternate universe, Taskmaster is a female. Traditionally, Taskmaster is a male. We all know Taskmaster as a male, and you want to honor your diehard fans and not piss them off, especially when there's like nothing to gain. And I'm tired of the reasonable, like, oh, such and such representation. Like, what do you mean more representation? Like, it's literally a female superheroes movie, which Disney actually screwed over Scarlett Johansson on her bonus, but what do you mean more representation? There's females all across the MCU. It's not like, so that's a stupid argument. And, I don't care about some obscure comic, like, and I'm a comic guy. I care about the classic version of the character. And in terms of the backstory, female Taskmaster did have a backstory in Black Widow, but it felt detached from female Taskmaster because we never experienced her in her backstory. We were told her backstory from other characters. And when she finally pulled the mask off, we got one really cool fight scene and like this odd goodbye between Black Widow and Taskmaster. Black Widow actually felt, I think, sympathy for Taskmaster, and
100%.
yeah, but I just think a lot of these moves are not done with the intentions that we're told. Like, I don't think that they make the gender swap for female representation. I think they do it to aggravate fans that don't see the world that the way they do, and it's just
Yeah,
so.
I mean, I agree with that. I think that's the case for some brands like Star Wars. Like they purposely try to piss fans off. When it comes to Marvel, when it comes to certain projects like Black Widow, I remember like yesterday, I was reading the articles like after the film, like why is Taskmaster female, and the director's per quote verbatim was, he wanted to hear whoever was the director. They said they wanted to fake out fans, on who the actual identity of Taskmaster was, and so me personally, when it comes to these types of castings with Marvel, I do think that this was a artistic decision. I just think it was the wrong artistic decision. Now, when it comes to Shia LaBeouf, I go back and forth because to me that seems like pretty like agenda based. Not gonna lie, and you know me, I don't care about the like. I don't mind it, Jerry, but that seems like that. But with Taskmaster, it does seem like a art. It does seem like a art artistic thing, mostly because they did so much to set up the backstory for her. Now, in my opinion, I think that they could have used like Elektra or any other, adversary that she has had. They could have even made this girl to be in charge of the Red Room. She could have killed her dad, right? Like who ran everything, and then she could have been in charge, and then you could have ran with that story. Like I think I think there was better ways to build up that story in that movie without making her freaking Taskmaster. You know what I mean? Like
And,
that's just my opinion.
and all these things, they only go one way. And the other thing is, I don't think you could take some of them at their word when they answer about the backlash. So with animated Batman Cape Crusader, Bruce Timm, the iconic
Yeah,
Bruce
I saw
Timm,
that article. Yeah.
yeah, he said, well, there just aren't enough good Batman villains.
Which
And
is the
it's like,
most cap I've ever heard in
yeah,
my life. Like
and
Batman, what? It's
someone
crazy,
like
bro.
Bruce Timm, who is willing to damage his credibility in advance of his political agenda, and that's why I say, like, some guy I wrote on Threads. Well, I think I sent it to you, but I wrote on Threads. What did I write? So I wrote, remember when very specific people thought She-Hulk would have a major impact and be the future of the MCU? Someone wrote, whoever said that. I wrote, some of the same people who claim to like the Acolyte. And the reason I said that is because, it's like there are a lot of people that no matter how bad the content is, if the agenda is present, they will pretend it's a good show. And there are so many of them. And, I check their stories because I find it entertaining. And without fail, whenever something is like agenda heavy, no matter how bad it is, they're like, well, it's actually a good thing. And this show is really good because X, Y, and Z. By the way, that kid, I scoped out his Threads page and I was looking through his replies. Every single one of his replies is to people who are talking about how they didn't like She-Hulk or whatever reason they're criticizing She-Hulk, and he's just defending She-Hulk. So this is a guy that is going on Threads searching She-Hulk to find criticisms of the show to defend the show. I don't think he is someone who's a big She-Hulk fan. I think he's someone who's an agenda fan. That's my opinion, but I just, and I don't know. I think that a lot of these shows cater to those fans, and they want to piss off the fans that aren't those fans, like us. And
I just I just think that's like, me personally, right? Like, because I just think Taskmaster's a different situation, because like, as a long life Stars fan who's read so many books and just got into the freaking Legends comics again, bro. So enjoying that.
I've never read them.
Yeah, dude, so fun. But like, an Acolyte is different because they're destroying lore, and it's like depressing my soul. But with Black Widow, like, they didn't really, like, they destroyed Taskmaster for sure, but like they set up well. And I just think that was a bad move on their end. But I do agree with what you're saying, is that people love to put their politics into this fandom, and fandom is not where you place that. Go somewhere else and do that. Like, we just care about the content, and that's
Right.
pretty much it. And
that's
what's nasty, in my opinion.
I'm someone who is politically active. I pay attention to politics every single day, but I keep it out of my entertainment, and I don't always let it impact my opinions on entertainment.
Exactly. So yeah, man. But I do agree where, like, some of these gender swaps with the MCU, they have been a hit or miss.
They only go one way. That's the other thing. It's never like, let's make a male Black Widow. Not that I would want that, but
which would be kind of fire. I ain't gonna lie. A male Black Widow would be hard, bro.
Yeah.
I'll be kind of fired. But I ain't gonna lie. I'll be kind of fired, bro. What? A male assassin like that, dude? That might be kind of, you want to cook this now. I'm kidding.
Right?
But yeah, but nah. Other than that, I mean, I am pretty excited for the Thunderbolts. I don't even think Taskmaster's going to have a large role, so I'm not really sure about that. But all in all, man, I am really excited for this movie, and I just can't wait to see. I need to get this trailer in HD or in 4K. Like, I need to see it so we can really break it down on this channel. It pisses me off. Because back in the day, like, I don't know if you remember, but like Comic-Con, like, they would show you that Comic-Con, and then the trailers will come out like 2 seconds after. So like, why are they like hiding all of the footage and all this stuff? And
I think it's for 2 reasons. Well, no, it's the same thing actually. But I think the reason is they get to release the trailer to a select audience who is going to create buzz about it online. Yeah. They know it's going to leak, but they're going to take it. And then they get to release that same exact trailer a couple months later and have another spike in internet buzz. A lot of these companies' strategies, because of the world we live in today, revolves around creating buzz online. And, so, and I also think that might be part of the incentive of a gender swap.
Smart on their part to do it that way. We're showing people only record on iPhones. Genius marketing plan, by the way.
Yeah.
So props to them. All right, let's read some chats before we get to the Fantastic. I'm pretty sure the Fantastic Four is what we're talking about next. Do you like the casting of the Fantastic Four? I do like the casting of the Fantastic Four, and to be honest, after even seeing them on screen, we're gonna save it for the next time. But yeah, I do like the casting of the Fantastic Four. Looks great.
I do, except for Pedro.
Okay. I think Jessica Jones and maybe Echo might be in Daredevil Born Again. I agree. I think they both will be in that show. They shouldn't have done an Echo season 1. It should have put her in this show, number 1.
I don't know that I disagree. I'm not saying that I don't want Jessica Jones in the MCU. I just think there's a lot of characters in Daredevil Born Again, and all of them are way better than both Jessica Jones and Echo. And if we're going to add characters, let's add people like Spider-Man and not Jessica Jones and Echo.
I have to find the tweet, but the girl that plays Jessica Jones, she posted like a poster with the Daredevil Born Again. Which a lot of fans she.
I like her, by the way. She's
great actress.
Yeah, great actor.
Is Marvel's father, is Miss Marvel's father and Daredevil? Yes, he is. He is in it. We don't know what the heck he's doing, but it shall be very interesting. I don't think Kamala Khan is going to show up, though. I do not think
Yeah.
she's going to show up.
He might not be a villain. He's never been a villain in the comics, but
Yeah.
it does seem to me that he is probably in some kind of trouble and he doesn't know how to get out of it.
Yeah, and it might be because of Kamala or something to that degree.
Right.
Wait. Did you guys see Echo? If so, do you remember the news that Kingpin was watching, talking about looking for someone to become mayor? Is Kingpin going to become mayor and Daredevil born again? That's what it is shaping that he's going to run. Don't know if they're going to see it all the way through. It like we might see in Spider-Man or another project, but most likely yes, he is going to be.
By
He's
the
going to
way, I
mayor.
would love, and I know Stevie's going to agree with me on this because he said it too, but I would love for them to do Devil's Reign, the storyline. It's a recent crossover event where Kingpin outlawed superheroes in New York City. It's incredible. And I also think, like, and there's a lot of talk both ways on this, but there's a lot of fans that want the MCU to have additional storylines aside from the main Avengers going into Doomsday and Secret Wars. And like, I think they should be able to get to a point where they can have other crossovers that are really significant, but aren't necessarily part of the storyline going into Doomsday and Secret Wars. And I think Devil's Reign would be like the perfect thing to do. I think they might, if they're going to do Devil's Reign, my guess is they're going to, have Kingpin outlaw superheroes and Daredevil is going to probably, work around that with the Punisher, maybe Spider-Man if he appears. But I don't see them like using this as a launch pad to then do a Devil's Reign movie. But I would love to see them do that.
100%. Are you guys excited to see Sentry? I only know Sentry off of reading World War Hulk comic and just know basic background info like of him. But I think he's cool from the little I saw him. Jerry, you go first.
The thing about Sentry that I think is going to be a big surprise to people, because everyone on social media who doesn't read comics are so hyped about this character, and I don't really understand why. I think it's because he looks like a classical superhero, but he's really not. Sentry is someone who initially takes the serum as a drug. He's a drug addict. It's a huge part of his story. And he, while he was taking drugs, he takes the super soldier serum and he gains powers from it. The other thing is that his addiction leads him to substance abuse. He's got mental health, dissociative identity disorder. He is someone that is he's a dark character. He's not, I know P fans see him flying in the sky in this bright yellow suit and he's jacked and he's got long blonde hair, but he is a dark character. He just doesn't look it. And I think that I don't know what Marvel's going to do because I don't see the MCU going as dark as they need to be a fully accurate representation of Sentry, which again is fine in the case that, the less significant of the character, the more creative liberty you can take. And Sentry is one of those characters he's not Spider-Man. He had a pretty significant arc in the new Avengers run from Brian Bendis, which was in the mid 2000s. And I don't think he's really had a significant role in comics other than that one time. But we'll see. I just don't think Marvel's going to go there. Yes, they did just put out an R-rated movie, but the R-rated movie wasn't dark and about a drug addict. That's a totally different place for Marvel to go. I think they're going to go dark and gritty with Daredevil, but again, dark drug addict, like that's a little different. And you have to remember, they want parents to feel comfortable buying tickets to bring their children into it, to sell toys to. And that's a big, big part of Marvel's overall strategy. And I think that is the most important priority, even over being fully authentic to Sentry. And they could do it with Sentry because, again, he's Sentry. He's not Spider-Man.
Fans are obsessed with trying to find a Superman in other Earths and in any universe.
Sentry's not.
Yeah, in any universe where people can fly, people are obsessed with Superman. Why do people love Omni-Man? Because Omni-Man resembles Superman. Why do people love Home freaking Lander? Because he can shoot beams out of his eyes. Superman is the blueprint for the most powerful character in any universe. And that's why if Hyperion was going to be in this film, it will be even worse. It will be even worse.
Yeah.
So, and the thing about Sentry is that, he has one of the darkest origins of any character I've ever read in my life, and I just think that, and it's a really deep story. And I've read Reddit trails of Sentry's origin making people quit drugs. Like, it's a serious, like it's a really deep story,
Yeah.
And they're obviously not going to go that route. Like, you see in that teaser trailer that we first meet him and he's been locked away in a lab. So, there's obviously going to be a little bit of filler that we're not going to know. But I do think that we're going to dig into his depression. But I think Sentry's going to be more controlled. Like, something going to be controlling him somehow. And that's kind of the way I see Sentry maybe playing a role in the Thunderbolts. But am I excited to see him? I mean, it's not like I'm more excited to see U.S. Agent than Sentry. Like, I'm more excited to see Ghost than Sentry.
100%.
Like,
100%.
yeah, like, you know what I mean? Those are
more. And I'm still more excited to see.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Sentry, like,
Sentry, like Yelena Belova. I'm more excited to see her than Sentry. So, Sentry's like really low on my list of characters that I'm hyped to see, and that's just because we've. Jerry and I have been talking about like what is Marvel going to do with these characters. So, Jerry and I were more excited to see the characters that Marvel's put in work to build up already. So, and U.S. Agent for us is probably me and Jerry's favorite character that we want to see. I ain't gonna lie, because U.S. Agent he's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be
Sentry is not that guy, and I would be weary of whoever is telling you that, because I wouldn't believe that they think he's that guy if they really know their stuff.
Exactly. It's the same way where people vouch for Omni-Man, but you don't understand Omni-Man. Like, Omni-Man is a savage. Like, Mark, aka Invincible, is the character that you want to watch. So, it's and as I said, it's always the same thing in every franchise. People fall in love with the most powerful character all the time. All right. Okay, I don't know what to say about Thunderbolts. I guess only that Valentina might be the new owner of the Avengers Tower. She definitely is. That was definitely the Avengers Tower in that freaking trailer. There might be a romance between Yelena and Bucky, and that's pretty much it. That would be interesting. A romance between Yelena and Bucky. That would be very interesting to see. Big L, by the way, on Marvel not getting Captain America and Natasha Romanoff in a freaking relationship. For Hulk and Black Widow, come on, don't even get me started.
Especially Mark Ruffalo with Scarlett Johansson. Are you kidding me?
But comic book Hulk, like comic book Bruce Banner, is so obsessed with Veronica that that's not even a possibility. You know what I mean? And that's what. Oh, something just came to my mind, but I'll save it for when we talk about Captain America: Brave New World. But keep this in your mind. Remember, Veronica was in the freaking set photos in Captain America: Brave New World at a funeral. Anyways, let's just table that for right now. Yeah. I'm excited to see Sentry, but I don't know how it will work with him fighting the Thunderbolts. I think the Thunderbolts are going to turn against Valentina, and I think she's going to crash out and get Sentry to basically kill them all. The Thunderbolts team doesn't seem super powerful to me. the Thunderbolts is going to be a very powerful roster, bro. A lot of super soldiers, a lot of super soldiers, but I think it'll work out.
Yeah.
And
They have Bucky, they have US Agent,
which is
they
literally
have
Steven freaking Bucky.
Yelena, Ghost. And when you think about a team, like you got to think about how the powers benefit each other. Also, all these characters are really smart. They're really good with spy and espionage. So I think this is a movie that is going to impress you more than you think. So hang on there, not a gain 90.
And if they have freaking Norman Osborn, then that takes the power level up a lot higher than what you expect.
I really think that it would be such a W, not because I just want to see him, but it would be a major W for Marvel to show that side of Norman Osborn. Because fans, if you don't read comics, like the only side you know of him is, conflicted Green Goblin.
Yeah, when he's a genius, he's actually a freaking genius. Think
about someone who's like Elon Musk, takes over companies, but is also a total scumbag, entrepreneur, and villain.
His knowledge is up there with Stark and Victor and all the he's a very smart man. And the animated Spider-Man shows do a really good job of showing that. In the Ultimate Spider-Man show, there's a whole run where he's Iron Patriot, and it's like super. I was like, yo,
the Iron Patriot's like the coolest Norman Osborn arc in my opinion, 100%. And that's what I love about Marvel. It's it's very sci-fi and military and government. Like that's where Marvel really.
By the way, do you know what that Spider-Man show did with Green Goblin that I want them to do in the MCU?
What did they do?
They made him
Spider-Man show.
It's Ultimate Spider-Man. They made him an actual goblin. I think that'll be fire.
So they kind of did that in Miles Morales universe, and you saw it in the beginning of Into the Spider-Verse, where he was like a mega Green Goblin, and that Peter Parker died to save Miles.
I think a real Green Goblin would be awesome. Like that'll be so different from what we've seen, just in the past, because like I do think like a lot of fans are attached to Defoe, and I think having an actual Goblin is like a fresh new look for Spider-Man. I think that'd be super fun.
I think they should do the Iron Patriot thing first, which is very different.
Oh, no. So in the Ultimate Spider-Man story, they go with the Iron Patriot and the Iron Patriot leads into Norman becoming an actual goblin. It's fire.
That it does sound.
Right, it's a really dope story. But anyways, before we get distracted, because we love talking about Norman. This is guys, this is how we text. We freaking whenever Jerry and I text, we dive into these freaking holes of just like
tangents.
Yeah, what ifs. But you guys like this, so that's why you guys watch the podcast, right? Because this ain't we talk about every day. All right, when I heard about the Thunderbolts, I wasn't expecting those characters. I was expecting like the characters from the comics. Let me pull up that list on my phone of the Thunderbolt comic characters.
Yeah, I think there were a couple different rosters. I would like to see Zemo, but or like the Dark Reign roster.
All right, here we go. Zemo, Luke Cage, the Thunderbolt, Thunderbolt Ross, Amber Jenkins, Taskmaster, Black Widow, Songbird, Kobik, Eric Johnson, Kara Sofin, Fixer, Juggernaut, U.S. Agent, Janice Vell was a part of the Thunderbolts.
Well, there's been like a number of different.
Okay, these are like freaking like 50 people, so I'm not going to read all of these people, but Venom's been a part of them. So many people. I mean, we're not going to go on this list.
The big one that's not. You also have to keep in mind, like, not all these characters are in the MCU. It does seem like they wanted to go with characters that we've seen before on this team. Obviously, I've made it clear I would love to see Norman on this team, but I also really wanted to see Zemo. Like, Baron Zemo is such a great character. That actor is incredible, and he is super smart, and they like left the door open with him. At the end of Civil War, like T'Challa, he's like, I really feel bad for the guy, and then they had him in Falcon and Winter Soldier, where he obviously worked with them, and like the MCU, they're like the kings of older villains having their redemption arc. They've done this with Loki. They did it with Bucky. Let Zemo finishes out. Like, come on.
By the way, wanna read out this tweet, man, because this is just random. This guy, his name is the Master Plan. He said this: how Marvel Studios handles black characters needs to be analyzed. T'Challa, one of the biggest black comic icons, not recasted. ...
Wait, sorry. Could start over? Sorry, I messed up.
Okay, so I know you guys might not agree with what about maybe the context, but just hear this from somebody that views comics, that views Marvel in this way, right? How Marvel Studios handles black characters needs to be analyzed. T'Challa, one of the biggest black icons in comic book history, not recasted. Blade going through production hell and delayed. Monica Rambo being sidelined and her Photon series canceled. War Machine Armor Wars being quietly canceled. Now, this is all I'm gonna say, and we're gonna move on to the next subject. When you play by certain rules, you lose by those rules too. And I'm gonna just leave it at that, and we're gonna move on to the next topic. You can't play because you can't play.
I think the representation priority shifted to a different category.
Yeah, and now it's coming back to bite them in the butt. Good thing that they're making changes to make it better, but with things like Blade and like Black Panther's not in a good place. Like the movie did 800 million, but that's off of the strength of T'Challa's death. You know what I mean? Like we're just keeping it real.
Yeah.
So but those are just no fans. These are some of the viewpoints that people have of Marvel Studios. And someone like Marvel, like you gotta see that when you play by your fans' rules, you die by your fans' rules. Screw us to an extent.
Yeah. I always say we would be so much better off if the MCU like didn't take in any fan opinions, and if that includes my own, so be it. Because
100%.
I'm one person, but the 90% of fans that demand the dumbest things don't read comics, don't even understand what they're demanding. The people who demanded for T'Challa to not be recasted won't admit that they demanded that today.
But by the way, and look, and bro, by the way, somebody else said here, and this is a very interesting thing.
In our thing?
No. So the guy in the comics, or in the comments, he said, I didn't like Shuri, but I was expecting a T'Challa recast this year or he said I expected a T'Challa recast to be announced this year at Comic-Con. So fans are like a lot of fans
dug themselves a hole though.
Yeah.
Because
go ahead.
Here's the thing. Now they said we're not recasting T'Challa because we want to honor and respect Chadwick Boseman. Now, if they do it, they're gonna, they're like, if they do it, they're gonna have to go back on their word that they believe that they were doing it out of respect for him. Meaning, if they do it, they also believe they're disrespecting him, even though it's the right thing to do.
The only reason why they covered their butts in that one though, bro, is because they only said it for that movie. So they did cover their butts for that. But I will say this is that T'Challa, like coming from you, right? Because you're a business guy, right? So if let's just say like you're a CEO of a company, you had to fire, or someone in a really important role passed away, right? Like let's say this, right? You are a CEO, and your CFO dies, right? CFO is one of the most important places in a company, right? As a CEO, Jerry, wouldn't you want to have an announcement in the next couple months, or maybe in the next week, for who is going to take that spot? Because you know that if you don't fill that role with the right people, your company could tank, because people are scared of like what's going to happen next. That's
So
the kind of mindset that I think they didn't have with that.
so fun fact, and I don't know how this works with actors because like I don't insure movies or anything like that,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
companies there's a product that we sell, key person insurance.
Yeah.
So it protects the company financially in the case of, and you don't have to use it for a CEO, but in the case of a key executive dies or maybe becomes disabled, and the coverage kicks in that event, and it provides a lump sum payout to the company, which could be used to cover the costs of finding a replacement,
Yeah.
offset lost revenue, stabilize the business during the transition. But the key thing here, the company is the beneficiary. You can't insure something without financial interest, and the family, it has the ability to take life insurance out. Or the person has the ability to take life insurance out on themselves to benefit their family in the event of their loss. This is to help specifically the company. It's obviously a very important coverage, especially with, these companies and how big they are. Of course, there are some people who call themselves the CEO because they sell, cupcakes out of their apartment on the weekends. We're talking about real CEOs here.
I'm crying. I'm crying. By the way, guys, by the way, like, do you guys like how we're not just sticking to the docket, but we're also having convos about kind of everything? Like, if you guys do like this format, where like we're kind of free swinging, please let us know, because we do have a lot of things that we want to share, but we try to stick to the
Yeah.
docket. But like, if you guys like this free flowing convo, please
Comment,
let us
we
know.
like the format or
Yeah,
something of
because
that sort. You know.
because like we're like, as you see, we're really enjoying this conversation right now. So
Yeah.
all right, so I'm gonna read a few more chats, and then we're gonna get to the Fantastic Four. So here we go. I was also expecting the comic style Thunderbolts, but the MCU changes a lot of things. So it's like they're spin on it, like how Fox did with the. So J.K. Rowling said something, right? So J.K. Rowling, when the Harry Potter films first came out, she was being pressed by her fans about why the sudden changes, and J.K. Rowling said that she views the Harry Potter movies as another universe from the books, and she said that I love doing these films because I get to change things that I wanted to change in my book. Like I get to make certain things like come to life that I didn't want. And not saying that these directors write the books, but like you guys have to like, and I'm sure you guys understand, but like they had to work with the cast that they had. And to be honest, I like this Thunderbolts team more than what they probably would have put together anyway if they went comic accurate. So
Yeah,
I'm
and
a fan of this team.
when there are like 7, 8, 9, however many Thunderbolt teams are, and Thunderbolts are not like the Avengers, they have the room for creative liberty. And the reason, by the way, the less significant the character or team, the more creative liberty you have, is people aren't as passionately tied to a version of the character or team because the character is not so significant.
100%. Would you rather fight like Daredevil? I'd rather fight like Spider-Man, bro. Sorry.
Yeah.
Both of those characters will be annoying to be, because, and Jerry and I talked about this last week. Spider-Man will be annoying because we have to make our own webs, which will be hella annoying. But whatever.
But
And
Daredevil got to be blind.
yeah, which is worse. Which is honestly worse. Super. What's up, Hunter Iggy? Hope you're doing good, bro. I'm excited for it. I want to see how the Celestials at a Mayteum plays a part and all of it. Also, you got Ross out there too, who's after the Celestial. Question for you guys: do you think that Sam Wilson's final suit is made out of adamantium? Just saying. That was being talked about, and if so, he doesn't need the superhero serum. We desperately need more of Zemo. He's such an interesting villain character in the MCU, different from your Thanos, Kang, Dormammu, and whatnot. Yeah, I think he's definitely in this movie. There's no way, bro. There's Zemo's definitely hiding in this film. There's no way you don't do this without Zemo.
Seriously.
It's no secret the success of Black Panther caught them off guard. I think Disney or the MCU knew how to truly capitalize off of a major character who was Black. 100%. And just to say, I think they did it rather well. I mean, I think they did a great job of positioning Chadwick Boseman in the right place. Not to mention, and this doesn't get talked about enough. Black Panther has had the best supporting cast out of any Marvel film. Angela Bassett, Latito Wright. I mean, come on. Michael B. Jordan, Black Panther, and Chadwick Boseman did shine, but Chadwick Boseman isn't the reason why that movie did well. It's the cast, the supporting cast. It played a really big part.
I wouldn't say he's not the reason.
All right. I don't want to say like, yeah,
but Chadwick,
he's not all of the reason why.
I think he's one of the best
cast was very strong.
Marvel has ever had, and probably one of the best superhero castings of all time.
100%.
He absolutely crushed it as T'Challa. Just the I hate to use the word because it's like a social media trend right now, but he had aura, man. He carried himself like a king.
And that is probably my favorite cast in a Marvel film. They had a lot of stars, bro.
They did.
And people still post Killmonger stuff to this day.
But you know what? To my point and against your original point, how they carried the movie is if that were the case, Wakanda Forever would have worked. And the thing about Wakanda Forever that's so interesting is that movie, it had everything perfect. The story, the scenes, the characters, the action, but it didn't land because it didn't have T'Challa. Everything else was perfect and would have landed, but you made a Black Panther movie without the Black Panther that we wanted. And you did that because a bunch of I can't stand these fans, man. Sometimes I really do think some days the MCU fandom could be the absolute worst fandom. I'm just gonna say it.
100%. 100%.
We have a lot of fans that just make stupid demands because there's I'm not even gonna say it,
Yeah, bro. I mean, yeah,
it's so aggravating.
By the way, guys, for Jerry, guys, this is personal growth for him. Okay, this is personal growth for Jerry. Yeah. Jerry would have flipped out already. I was going to say that I'm proud of you, bro, my guy. But I will say this. So I do think that what was I about to say? I do think that Killmonger stole the second act, and I think T'Challa's role was purposely like kind of quiet. Like it just felt like T'Challa was kind of quiet to me until the last act of the film, and I really think that was on purpose because like they're showing you the world of Wakanda, and that's why I think like the other characters, and I don't want to say they carried to make it like seem like Chadwick was bad, but like they carried a lot of the plot because that was the way the movie was meant to be, and then T'Challa comes in that last act and just takes over the whole freaking film, which is what he's gonna do. And then Black Panther 2 was supposed to be just Boseman just taking over everything, or whoever the Black Panther was. And that's where it kind of upsets me of like, we didn't get to see that. But we're not going to harp on this. We got other topics. So I'm
By the way, real quick, what's interesting is
what
a lot of people, Nat will always say like, oh, well, The Dark Knight sucked because there was no detective work. And Batman's a detective. Not every Batman story is a detective story. So there's a lot of comics that have no detective work in them. But T'Challa is a spy. T'Challa is someone who goes on espionage missions. And there's so much more they could have. I know they did a little bit in Black Panther, but like they could have done so much more with the character. Like he would be the perfect person to show up in the Thunderbolts movie.
Yeah, and that's why I'm hype about this Eyes of Wakanda show. Like, I'm pretty excited to see like what they're going to do with that. I've heard that any movie between Doomsday and Secret Wars are all battle world. That's totally not true, and we're going to talk about that when we talk about Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's definitely not true.
Or Spider-Man 4 we're going to touch that when we talk about Spider-Man 4.
I'll save it but it's going to be interesting. I'm just going to wait.
Yep. I never got that Chadwick is not T'Challa. Yep, exactly. We agree. If they don't reboot Hawk and T'Challa Secret Wars, big fab L. I heard that Black Panther 3 will have T'Challa fight. Yep, I heard about that. And Denna Nerds is right. Denna Nerds is right. We do need it. Either way, I'm either way,
They
to be
should
honest, for me
recast.
personally, either way, I'm fine with, because it's gonna be a recast either way, because you're gonna have to cast up. Like, it's not like this freaking kid and Wakanda Forever is gonna just grow up and be so. Anyways,
Yeah, they should. But I like what Hungry Almighty said about Hulk. I mean, they should just recast Mark Ruffalo, get him out of here like yesterday.
you need somebody younger, man. Like you need somebody younger that, and you need an actor like that can actually showcase the pain that Bruce Banner goes through. And I think Mark Ruffalo did a good job of did a good job of that in Avengers 1. And then, Age of Ultron was kind of weird. So, it just kind of got, and like you and you don't bring in Veronica at all. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, my friend told me, although they didn't recast T'Challa for emotional reasons, but a part of it feels like there was an I don't really think it was agenda. I really think this was more of an emotional thing, and and you could see the emotion. Like, I don't know if you guys saw the press conference, but they were literally crying throughout this whole press run. Like, that was one of the most depressing press runs I've ever seen in my life. Like, Ryan Coogler, who never cries, bro, he was breaking down in tears on podcasts. And I don't think, and Ryan, and I know Ryan's work. He's not an agenda director, so I really don't think that choice was that. I think but the funny thing that I'm pretty sure Chadwick's wife said that Chadwick would have wanted them to recast, but we're not going to go down this road. We've been down this road 1,000 times. By the way, what's your top 5 favorite Marvel heroes? We're not doing this right now. Actually, we will do it. Jerry, do you have like a top 5 in your mind now? Marvel heroes.
I would say Spider-Man, Iron Man, Captain America, Magneto, and Daredevil. Oof. Actually,
all right, let me look at my Funko Pops.
I don't know. I would probably say it's tough because I want to put Reed up there. It's tough. Yeah, I'm gonna have to give you 6 because I don't know who I'm cutting off. I have to keep more time. Yeah,
I'm going Doctor Strange. I'm going Cyclops. I'm going Nightcrawler. I'm going Spider-Man. And then I'm going Iron Man. It's probably my top 5 right there. No order though. No order.
Yeah,
Cyclops Jerry has been really growing on me. Definitely after finishing Avengers versus X-Men. Cyclops is like my dude, bro. He's slowly becoming my favorite Marvel hero.
Yeah, he really does in Avengers versus X-Men, especially because like they have him. That story is really a big face-off between him and Captain America. So to see him like on the adversarial side of Cap kind of levels him up.
100% agree. Chad as T'Challa made T'Challa mainstream before T'Challa. We never had a black hero whose popularity was on the level like Spidey, Iron Man, etc. I don't know why Twitter wouldn't want that to continue. I 100% agree, but the campaigns for Damson Idris already started. So just saying, we've been saying that for a long time. So of him being MCU. So just saying those campaigns have started, and don't be shocked if he's walking out as BP soon. All right. Fantastic Four, man. This is what I've been really waiting to talk about. So, the same trailer was shown at D23, but we also saw the Fantastic Four sitting down and talking. We saw Pedro as Reed with the slick back hair, old school style suit. We saw Sue Storm. We saw Ben Grimm, and then we obviously saw Joseph Quinn in one of the Fantastic Four costumes. And as a costume connoisseur, as well, aka I'm obsessed with freaking superhero costumes. I did like the costume. It is so 60s. Joseph Quinn looks like a freaking 60s dude, which I'm pretty excited to see. And from the rumors that I've heard, apparently what they're doing is they're testing spacesuits. And apparently that's one of their variants. Apparently we're going to see a lot of Fantastic Four suits. And bro, I heard that they're doing the Fantastic Four, Jerry, like, how like back in the day, right? How we will always see, like, when we watch like an animated show, we will always see like an X-Men character with some type of X-branded like clothes on. You know what I mean? Apparently, like in the Fantastic Four, it's going to be a lot like that, where they have like Fantastic Four sweaters, Fantastic Four like actual suits, which is going to be funny to see. So, but anyways, how did you like that suit that Joseph Quinn had on?
Oh man, I loved it. I love the pattern of the both the pattern of like the texture of the sweater, but I also love the pattern of the blocking between the blue and the white, and then the black gloves and the belt. Like it's retro, but it's clean. I don't know. I love it. I think it's awesome. I noticed a lot of mixed opinions on it, and I think that they were a pretty even split. And they always say that the best designs are often polarizing, and I think that's what we got.
I love the white belt. I think the white belt is a nice touch. I love the collar. I love everything about this suit, man. And
I
I think
think
Joseph
the
Quinn looks awesome. He looks like a comic book Human Torch. Like it's literally straight out the comic books, bro. Like
and yeah, and the bleached hair looked good, and the thing is, no Diddy. The thing is that he about the polarizing design and why
yeah,
that's like an important thing is because usually in a design that's like polarizing, half the people appreciate it, see the vision, and then just your regular type of people who lack vision and can't understand stuff that's like on the bleeding edge just don't get it or appreciate it. And some of them eventually will see the vision. It's like when a sneaker comes out, and a lot of people will like it, a lot of people will not like it, and then the sneaker will release and you'll see people get them and you'll see them style them well, and then you'll see people comment like, oh, it's growing on me. No, it's not growing on you. You saw someone pull it off, and now you know how you could pull it off. It's a big difference. And I think that's the kind of thing with these suits. I think that they are like really bleeding edge type cool. And I think a lot of people see the vision, rock with it. And I think a lot of people like it's going to take them to see the movie for them to appreciate it. And then there are some that like, if it's not your, traditional, no risk taking and just basic, they can't appreciate it.
I agree. Great take, bro. I'm really excited to see these costumes like on everybody else. Can't wait to see the thing. Can't wait to see Sue Storm, Reed. Vanessa Kirby has sold me already. I haven't seen a lick of her acting. I'm
Pedro's
ready.
got to lose the mustache.
Hmm?
Pedro's got to lose the mustache.
See, I like the stash.
It's not Reed. It's Pedro. That's like part of the problem.
I disagree, man. I think he looked good, bro. I like it. I like it, but I'm gonna save. But I can't wait till we see an actual trailer. I think there's a reason. I think the reason, bro, why they're not pulling for Fantasy Four. I think they're making a lot of changes right now. I think a lot of stuff is still in like early development, but we did see a lot of set photos, and we're gonna break all that down probably another video because some weird stuff is going on with that set that we saw. So, but yeah, together. Even though Jerry isn't sold on Pedro, we are hype about Fantastic Four first steps, and we like there's a lot going on there with them being on another Earth, Doctor Doom or RDJ's Doom potentially being involved, and not to mention, man, Galactus, bro. Man, that freaking scene with his eyes coming in, bro. I just can't wait to see Ralph Fiennes as Galactus. That's one of the sleepers that isn't being talked about enough. So
100% agree.
We're excited about that. Oh yeah. So all right, now let's get to Captain America: Brave New World because I don't want to go through the trailer again because you and I have already done a breakdown of the trailer like 20 times, But we did see one thing at the end of the trailer that was different is, we saw the Red Hulk and we saw the transformation kind of sort of happen. So how did you like that shot of the Red Hulk?
Oh, dude, he looked amazing. It's nice to see a Hulk that actually looks cool because I don't think we've gotten that since Avengers 1, and I think Harrison Ford's going to absolutely crush it. Like he looked savage.
Did you see him get honored as I think it's like a Disney Legend Award? Did you
No, I didn't.
That? Yeah, so like they honored him and they honored Angela Bassett as well for her role in Wakanda Forever. and they
Okay.
basically like rewarded a bunch of like older people that worked in Marvel and Star Wars, etc. Like they give them all these awards, which is super awesome.
Yeah, he
And-
deserves it. He you
yeah,
know he is like as legendary as you could get. He
yeah,
is that guy.
and he does not care. like,
Yeah.
bro, like they literally like, bro, they say, yeah, they say, yeah. So for Thunderbolt Ross, you got to grow stash. No,
Yeah.
okay, Harrison, like, okay,
Yeah.
he's a
Yeah.
savage, bro. He's really a savage.
He is.
So I'm glad that you like the Red Hawk because I liked the Red Hawk as well. I thought it was freaking awesome. Um, this could be movie of the year for Marvel Studios, and a lot of people aren't talking about it enough. And I was talking to one of my friends who hated on the trailer when he saw this new trailer with the Red Hawk. He sold on Captain America Brave, Brave New World, and I think that a lot of fans are going to fall in love with Anthony Mackie's Captain America in this film. And not to mention, we also got to see Falcon, the new Falcon. And the new Falcon suit also looks very awesome. So there's a lot to look forward to with this movie, man. Do you think the Thunderbolts are going to be in this at all, or any characters from the Thunderbolts? Because it is looking like this movie is going to connect to the Thunderbolts film.
Yeah, I think that they're both obviously very government involved, and I think there's going to be some crossover. I think it'll probably be in government officials type. Maybe we might see a Thunderbolt or two, but the only Thunderbolt I would say that I would count on seeing is Bucky. Actually, no, I think they said that didn't someone say they don't think he's in the movie? Listen, I think it makes sense.
Anthony Mackie said no because he said that you have to sell Sam as the guy. Like you can't have anybody from Steve's like past.
Right,
Really.
which is what I always say about sharing the spotlight. So I actually think it's important. Yeah, I think we'll see government officials that might cross over, but no one like on the hero side. And they do. They need to establish Sam as the new Captain America. In order to do that, he's got to stand on his own, and people can't be, more excited about a cameo than they are about Sam Wilson. Not that I think Bucky would do that, because listen, people like Bucky, but he's not Steve Rogers. But I think this movie's going to do that. I think that people are going to come out of it and really appreciate Sam Wilson. And, this is one of the things that we need Marvel to be good at, because Tony Stark and Steve Rogers are not the only major characters that are going to be killed and or aged off. There are going to be more significant deaths. And there's only so many. I mean, there's a lot of Marvel heroes, but there's only so many at the same time. We're going to have to be able to build up characters like Sam Wilson to, have a bigger impact on and a bigger role in the MCU.
100%. I agree. Do you think Nick Fury could pop up in the Thunderbolts or at the end of Brave New World?
I would love to see it. Like, that's the kind of character that could show up, because he is not really a superhero. I mean, he kind of is, but like, he's not the guy that's going to be,
So you wouldn't rule that out at all?
I think it's hard to say, because like, I want to see the trailer in like a real quality on my screen and be able to judge. But at this point, I wouldn't rule something like that out. I think there's just like, you're not going to see anyone who is an Avengers roster type of person. But Nick Fury is not that. Nick Fury is more like the guy behind the scenes. So I wouldn't I wouldn't rule it out. No.
Exactly. So okay. So guys, I'm telling you, this next Marvel slate, we're pretty sure. And I forgot to add Agatha. So I mean, look, Agatha played the same exact trailer again. The Witches Road and all this stuff. I do think that there's going to be a Doctor Doom tie-in with Agatha. But Agatha's not really the show that I'm hype about, to be honest, with you guys. And this is just a forced show off of a side character that they had to do, and they had no choice but to do it. Now Ironheart doesn't look that bad. Just being real.
Why did they have no choice but to make Agatha?
Huh?
Why did they have no choice but to make Agatha? I don't
Oh
understand.
no, I'm saying like they already filmed it, so they had no choice but to like
Oh,
release it. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Because they're
yeah.
not WB where they scratch films. They're like Disney's going to try to make something out of it.
Right, right.
Which I kind of respect because like that's why WB is in such a frenzy now.
I don't think
Higher
that's why we're in a frenzy, but I do think it was the right move to sacrifice Batgirl. I'll argue that with anyone.
Batgirl's way worse. That Batgirl movie was gonna be way worse than what Agatha was gonna do to the franchise. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
yeah.
Oh yeah, that
Batgirl
would
was
have
going to
taken
be
that.
bad.
Yeah, that
And
would have bro.
by the way, nobody cared about Batgirl until it was canceled. That's when everyone was like, "Oh, how dare you!" Get out.
And that's DCEU fandom for you. That's
Yeah.
DC fandom right there. They never care about anything until someone gets cooked. That's how it always goes. And with Ironheart, Jerry and I talked about Ironheart off air. I know Jerry, like you were intrigued by some of the the things. The trailer wasn't that bad. I do want to see a little bit more, and I need to watch the whole panel that they did about like Ironheart because I want to hear more about the story. Because I really the plot to me didn't see as intriguing, but I did like the action and the suits and I did like the flying and I like the I like Riri. This version of Riri, it doesn't seem as like annoying as the comic book version. So we shall see what happens. We're definitely going to cover the show and we'll see. So all right, now let's get to Spider-Man 4. Actually, let's do let's get the Spider-Man 4. So there's been rumors about a few changes happening with Spider-Man 4, Jerry. And the reason why is because, RDJ is now Doctor Doom. And basically it is talked about that, instead of they don't want to copy the Ant-Man because they want a movie that's going to boom in between that Doomsday to Secret Wars. And so the rumor that's going around, Jerry, is that, Spider-Man is going to be the movie that is going to be in between both Avengers films, and that they want to do something, with multiversal like elements, which is, more than likely going to happen because, you're coming out of Avengers Doomsday. And, so how do you feel about them possibly making changes to Spider-Man, going away from more of a, coming away from the Devil's Reign story? And the other part of that rumor was, and shout out to Dead and Nurse because he covered this too, where I got most of the info from. They want to do the Devil's Reign as its own thing after Secret Wars, and they want to do a whole like series on that with like a bunch of different characters and build that with the Daredevil show and the next Spider-Man film going into Spider-Man 5. And basically that basically like Feige was kind of like, Devil's Reign deserves its own thing. And so
He said that.
That's the rumor from Cosmic Circus, is that Feige. So the rumor is that Feige feels like he's not doing Devil's Reign its justice if they just squeeze it into this Daredevil season 1 going into Spider-Man 4. And what it seems like is that Feige wants to squeeze a lot out of it. Like he wants to get a lot out of it, which
makes sense.
If you know the Devil's Reign story, that it makes sense,
Yeah.
So they're going to do another like kind of like multiversal in between Avengers Spider-Man film, and they're going to use that Spider-Man film to launch into Secret Wars. How do you feel about that, possible decision happening, bro?
I love what I'm hearing about Devil's Reign, and Spider-Man, I'm torn because they did this with Far From Home, and Far From Home was a consequential movie because of the ending.
Wait, No Way Home or Far From Home?
Far From Home. Far From Home was consequential because of the ending, but the only movie that we really experienced that consequence in was No Way Home. And, I hate terms like this, but a lot of people called Far From Home a palate cleanser from like Infinity War. Number one, Marvel isn't in my mouth. Number two, I don't need to clean it. And I certainly don't need to cleanse my palate of movies. So it's a stupid term. But, I think people were like, Infinity War, the concept of that saying is Infinity War was like such an intense movie. Let's give you like a lighthearted, insignificant Spider-Man movie to hold you over. And I don't want an insignificant Spider-Man movie. I am my biggest issue with MCU Spider-Man as it is right now is that it feels like Spider-Man hasn't really had a major story with people from his own universe. You know, No Way Home was all villains from other universes, and it was a circular movie. If you just listened to Doctor Strange, the whole movie wouldn't have happened. They should have at least had one other villain in there from, our main prime MCU universe. And if we are going to have Spider-Man 4, listen, I get that grounded isn't MCU's thing. Spider-Man's too big of a character to not involve, these bigger, larger than life threats, spectacle, even though they never really have. We all kind of know that's where it's going. And, I'm not opposed to seeing Spider-Man against Doctor Doom. I want to see Doctor Doom, more Doctor Doom. So to see Spider-Man against Doctor Doom, that would be great. And I also just want it to be a really good movie. Like, the thing is, for the longest time, Marvel really seemed to have they perfected the art of creating exceptional comic book movies. It was almost like they had broken down the process into a precise science, and they really developed this formula. They knew exactly how to blend story, character, spectacle, and consistently drop top tier content. And the approach, it enabled them to reliably make movies that resonated with audiences and critics, and ultimately it made them the gold standard for the comic movie genre, which is why everyone's trying to do the shared universe concept, which is what they do. And it just doesn't seem like Marvel gets to be that science. It's almost like they lost it, because you used to walk into a Marvel movie and you could rely on Marvel to always put out a banger, and that's just not the case right now. And I think with Spider-Man, they don't. I don't like Far From Home was decent. It wasn't a banger. No Way Home was a banger, even though it had its issues. Like, Spider-Man 4 needs to be absolutely incredible. It needs to rival Spider-Man 2 from, Sam Raimi.
Yes. Quick off topic. Why do people think that Marvel is undoing Bucky's character arc? Because of the Thunderbolts film.
Because I think that Thunderbolt is like an anti-hero thing, and Bucky went the way of the hero, and now he's going back to not being a hero.
I think that's a fun journey for him. I ain't gonna lie, fun journey. But anyway, sorry, talk. Back to Spider-Man 4. It's gonna be very hard for me. It's hard for me to think of if I would like a story where RDJ's Doom is trying to kill Spider-Man, and then he kind of goes from Earth to Earth to Earth, something like that. It's very hard for me to, think if I would like it, because, the ending of the Spider-Man movie was pretty much selling us on the fact that we're going to go to the original Spider-Man, where you bring in Sam Raimi or someone like that to give us classic. So I'm not sure about that, but they'll figure it out. We'll see what happens. I do like the fact that they're not just leaning into what everyone wants, and they're doing something different. I think that sounds fun. But MCU Spider-Man has been, and I hate to say this, the MCU Spider-Man has been used rather poorly in its solo films, other than Spider-Man Homecoming, which I think is which is my favorite Spider-Man film of all time. I do think Spider-Man has been used rather poorly. And I don't think that who's the director's name? Mark Webb. He did the TASM films. Who's the director of the MCU Spider-Man films? Hey Siri, who's the director of the MCU Spider-Man films?
John Watts.
John Watts, yeah. John Watts has abused Spider-Man, and we got to keep it real. He's you make a movie like Far From Home, bro. Come on, dog. That was criminal. And and I love No Way Home too, but it has its flaws as well. So you bring in a new guy, let him do his thing, and I'm pretty excited with what they're going to do there. So can't wait for Spider-Man 4. Now, our last topic of the night, Mandalorian and Grogu. A trailer finally came out for them. if you guys wonder about Pedro Pascal, he voices this character. He's not going to be in the body. He's literally filming a Fantastic Four movie. He's not going to be involved in this at all. So here we go. Here's what we saw in the trailer. We saw that the Razor Crest has returned, and it's funny because the Razor Crest was destroyed. Happy is back. We also see Zeb in this movie as well. If you don't know who Zeb is, he was first introduced in Star Wars Rebels. He was also in, I think it was in Andor. I'm pretty sure, and I think he was also in Ahsoka. I think. Was he an actor? He was in one of those shows. So Zeb is a pretty much love character. He's a pilot alien dude, super fun. We also saw, a ice planet with a bunch of stores, with a bunch of stormtroopers. It looks like they're on Hoth from The Empire Strikes Back, but I'm not entirely sure. And it seems like Din Djarin and Grogu are going like on the run from Thrawn, or they run into Thrawn, and and it looks like they're trying to reach like a resistance type of thing. So, now here's my thing. Why the heck is Grogu still a baby? One of the biggest issues I have with the Mandalorian series, even in the peak of it, is that I'm not the biggest fan of how they've used Grogu. Like, when is he going to actually be able to talk? When is he going to be able to use his lightsaber? Like, he can't just be this senseless baby forever. And in the trailer, it just seemed like that. So I'm a little pissed off about that, bro. And if you make Grogu grow up, I think that rejuvenates that whole entire show. Because now he's able to fight, he's able to stand up for himself, he's able to talk, and you're able to see him and Din Djarin have dialogue that we've never seen before. And to me, they just keep avoiding that because Baby Grogu sells. But it pisses me off because Baby Grogu has done its run. Now move on and make Grogu like a man. Let's hear him talk. Make him the next Yoda, basically. I'm not a fan.
I think there's room to do that, like in the sequel.
100%. And what will be funny is if Grogu gets the Darksaber and he's now the ruler of Mandalore. Now that will be fire, bro. That would be fire.
Yeah, that would be sick. I agree.
Yeah, because he would be the first Mandalorian Jedi since freaking Tar Vizsla, which would be insanity.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And then sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say they really need this movie to be amazing, because if it's not, they would currently have absolutely zero properties that are performing well under the Star Wars banner. They would have the Acolyte and
the last show that did good positive was Ahsoka, and that was 2 years ago.
Yeah, and I don't know if they're doing another series, Ahsoka show.
Yeah, they are. They're doing a season 2.
So they have a couple things, but regardless, this is their biggest IP within the IP, and it's got to be like amazing, And if it's not, it's a problem. I think that they should really, like, I agree with what you said about Grogu, and I think it's more important than people might realize. And I hope that those people doesn't include Lucasfilm, because listen, all these shows, Ahsoka, Acolyte, Mandalorian, at the end of the day, they're all spin-offs. They're not main characters.
Yeah, it's not the main storyline. Yeah, you're right.
Right. And if you have Grogu grow up and become the leader of the Jedi Order, you could build a new Star Wars era. And that's what they need. They need a new Star Wars era. They need new heroes. By the way, I don't think the heroes always have to be Jedi. That's not how it's always been in Star Wars. Han Solo, Mandalorian's obviously not a Jedi. But I think that with Grogu becoming the leader of the Jedi Order, you would obviously need new Jedi, and you could have new Sith, or you could do something else like the Knights of Ren.
Yeah.
But just make them compelling characters. Do not let your agenda get in the way of doing the job justice. And, they need to get serious about this, because where is Star Wars going? And nobody really knows. And I think that, like, when fans are disappointed by shows like The Acolyte and there's no general direction of any like real positivity for the future of Star Wars, it's I think that's really aggravating for us fans. And aging Grogu up to lead the Jedi Order would be a huge W in the positive direction that Star Wars needs to go.
So, what else is funny is that she was not. Kevin Feige came up to talk about the MCU, but she didn't come up to talk about Star Wars. Dave Filoni did. The only time she came up was when she was when she was joined by Harrison Ford as the inductee of when they inducted Harrison Ford and John Williams into the Disney like Hall of Fame. Basically, she was up there.
Talking about Kathleen.
Yeah, but to present the Star Wars content, she was not up there, which is very interesting, Jerry. It's very interesting because, I mean, Feige is the Kathleen Kennedy for Marvel. So
right,
why is he up there? Why The Rock is the Kathleen Kennedy for the Moana universe. The Rock was up there.
Right.
Why? So, there's a shift, Jerry, that's going on behind the scenes. And you and I both know, like, with as much success Marvel has had, that Marvel's flopped, that hurt Kevin Feige, bro. And he basically said it. And Bob Iger was shaking in his boots when that movie flopped. And
what did
if
he
this
say?
Mando movie fails, huh?
What did Feige say
About the flop?
Yeah.
Basically a whole article came out about Feige just saying that like it was a smack in the face.
Wow.
By
the way, I saw someone else say, I forget what it was, but it was like all of you didn't like the Marvels because you are misogynistic. I'm like,
we bang with Carol Danvers. That's what people don't understand.
Yeah, I love Captain Marvel. I love Miss Marvel. Like, I'm sorry, but that is like, it's almost like that's like a bigoted things to say. It's like so ignorant.
Carol, Kamala, and Photon, they're not bad characters. We have never said that ever in history.
And the movie just sucks.
The movie just sucks. The movie just sucks. It has nothing to do with politics. Has nothing to do with gender. The movie just sucks.
Right.
We raved about the Ms. Marvel show so much.
Yeah.
And that's a funny thing, Jerry. They won't go back and look how they won't.
Well, they weren't saying about us. They were just saying it about in general. Like, oh, if you didn't like this movie, you're like. That's the kind of stuff that is just so ridiculous. And I'm sorry, but I don't know how anyone can take anyone seriously who says something like that. That is just insane. And it got a lot of likes.
Yeah. Well, they can't say that about us because we got the proof here. I mean, if you go back to our Marvel's videos, I mean, dude, we have so many videos of us big upping the Marvels. Big upping Sue Storm and all these characters. Basically,
bro, just because an agenda I disagree with is present doesn't mean like I automatically don't like comment. I've liked The Boys for 4 seasons. Like,
Don't like we are not like these other dudes, bro. We're not like them. Like, even if you see us on a podcast with these dudes, we're in a whole different headspace than a lot of these guys.
Yeah, like we were on a podcast recently, and we really didn't like a lot of the things that were being said. We disagreed with a lot of the things that were being said, and we would never want to come off that way.
Exactly, because and people like Hungry, Hungry, you've been with us from the start, so our basis is always the content first. But also, is it good or not? Like that's the way me and Jerry judge things. Like because and I know Jerry because look, Jerry is not happy with the Shia LaBeouf casting. But if Shia LaBeouf is good, Jerry will come.
I'm not happy with the casting. I actually like the actor. I'm not happy
I'm talking about the gender swap. I'm saying And Jerry, look, Jerry does not like the gender swap. But if the role is good, even though he doesn't like the gender swap, he will say it's good because that's how we judge films.
Yeah.
We might not agree with the decisions,
But I'm not
but
going to
if it's good,
lie and say, oh, she did a terrible job. Like, if she does a good job and like the movie's good, I'm not going to say, oh, well, the movie sucks because I don't like that they gender. Like, I'm not going to do
exactly, and that's what differentiates me and Jerry from other guys, because other guys will say, I don't like this decision, so I'm not going to go into this movie with an open mind.
that. Yeah.
When we act like we actually value integrity, and
I
we
was
take
just going to say, if you
it,
don't
and
have integrity, you can't have credibility.
yep. And Jerry and I take a journalistic point of view, which means that every movie that we watch, every show we watch, we go into it with, even Acolyte. I went into it with an open mind. I let go of all of the things I was angry about, and I said I'm going to give this a chance. And Jerry knows the first 2 episodes, I was like, it ain't that bad. And
Yeah.
then we got to episode 3, and I was like, oh god. But like, we go into all these projects with open minds and with hope that is good. Like we never walk to a theater saying like I want this to suck. And that's what a lot of people do, and they rage bait you guys into watching these videos, like someone that we're not going to mention.
Or the Snyder fans who are like, I want that movie to be so bad. I want them to never get a job again. Like,
Yeah, bro, like it's ridiculous, bro. Like, other than Zachary Levi, I'm and Mark Ruffalo for Jerry. Like, we don't want no one else to see,
took words out of my mouth.
So, but yeah, so all right, let's finish up these chats, and then we'll get out of here. I know you guys say that Marvel will keep it simple with RDJ is playing Victor Von Doom instead of Tony as Doom. Does this mean RDJ will stay as Doom post Secret Wars? Probably not. Mm-hmm. Doom will probably die, and he might come back again 10 years on a road or something. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but if Secret Wars is split into 2 parts and released in 2028, that's the 20th. Bro, that will be fire.
That's crazy. I don't think it's going to be 2028, but I definitely think they're going to split it into 2 parts because $2 billion movies. Like, why wouldn't they?
Speaking of 2028, Jerry, we got to go to the Olympics, bro.
2028.
We had to. We got to. That's a once in a lifetime thing, bro. We got to go.
100%.
I heard John Malkovich has a role in F4. You guys think it's going to be a solid role? I'm pretty sure he's going to be puppet master. That's what I heard.
I like him.
I agree. Pedro has to lose the mustache. I just want to take the razor, force him to shave it off. So
please do.
That's 2-1. Do you think the rumored Hulk vs. Wolverine movie might come into fruition? I hope this is true, because I think this could be a way to introduce the MCU Wolverine. I don't think this is happening, guys.
I don't think they're going to happen. It's going to happen, and maybe once they do end up recasting the Hulk, which will probably be after Secret Wars, it might be. But I just don't see Marvel backing Mark Ruffalo to that extent. There's a reason they never put the Hulk in the title of any movie, and he's been around. Everyone else has kind of at least gotten, like Hawkeye, he got his own Disney Plus show. Black Widow got a movie. Everyone's gotten something except for Mark Ruffalo.
Even Rhodey is getting a movie, bro. Like, yeah, that's how you know. That's how you know.
They do not like him.
Yeah. If they do a Hulk Wolverine movie, it would need to be with new actors. I'm not a fan of Ruffalo, but I don't know how they're going to fit that story. And dang, a lot of people don't like Mark, man. A lot of people don't like Ruffalo. That's why I said it's best to do a post Secret Wars with new actors. Yeah, facts. But I think Deadpool and Wolverine really teased it might be a possibility. I really think that scene was fan service, guys. The only person I can accept as my Wolverine right now is Henry Cavill. Same here. Kevin Feige. Sorry, Kevin Feige. I'm not interested in any other actor.
I would also like it. I don't think he'll do it, but if Hugh Jackman were willing to stay around, I'd be down for that.
Can't hear. Maybe Spider. By the way, dude, I saw the video of Ian McKellen and who's Professor X? What's his name?
Who? Professor X?
Yeah, who played Professor X? I forget.
Patrick Stewart.
Dude, they're still mentally there. Like, they were just acting at a theater, and like, dude, they look so sharp, bro.
Bro,
how are they that old and still like remembering lines and acting their butt, bro? They might be one of the greatest actors of all time, bro. I'm telling you, they still out here acting.
They kill it. They definitely are the real deal.
All right. Maybe Spider-Man 4, it's its own street level story. That's where we got to stop using. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop using grounded, and I'm gonna say street level. That's a
Yeah,
way better word to use.
100%
Anyways, maybe
agree.
Spider-Man before. But by the way, Jared and I had a whole conversation about just the word grounded. Oh, I'm done
And
using
it's
that
so
word.
misused. It
Yeah,
is
we hate
so
it.
misused.
Jerry, can you
Because we
just
have a bunch of
go,
fans
can
who
you go on
don't
your quick?
understand what they talk
Yeah,
about.
can you just go on a quick like tangent about the whole grounded thing real fast?
Yeah. So like a lot of people think grounded and they're talking they're basically talking about something that's not like out of this world, cosmic. What grounded really means is a movie like The Batman. It was realistic. Pretty much nothing that happened in that movie couldn't happen in real life. Now, I'm not saying some of the things in the story might be a little dramatic, but like all of the action scenes, literally everything Batman did in that movie could have happened in real life. And that's grounded, grounded in reality, not like grounded close to the ground. Very big difference. And a lot of people online, like they just see other people say things and they don't understand what they mean and they just run with it. It's like insane. So I think when people say they want to see granted, Spider-Man, like I would still say a movie like Spider-Man, Sam Raimi is grounded because the hero, the villain, it wasn't really like it was all explained through science. It was science fiction, but it was all explained through science. Whereas something like Superman flying across the sky is obviously not grounded. Superman can be a grounded character. Obviously it's not realistic for someone to get bitten by a spider and gain the powers of a spider, but it's at least explained through science fiction rather than something that's explained through magic. So I think when people say they want a grounded Spider-Man movie in the MCU, I think an accurate explanation of what that would mean and look like is for Spider-Man to, fight someone who doesn't have uh, powers that they gained from supernatural causes. Now, there's a difference between gaining powers from supernatural causes in the movie or gaining powers from science fiction in the movie. Because, again, in science fiction, Spider-Man gets bit, he gets the powers. In real life, in real science, that can never happen. But technically, Spider-Man: Homecoming is a grounded Spider-Man movie, which Stevie made the point earlier, and he's 100% right. Everything that happened in that movie, was explained through science fiction. Of course, it becomes a little less grounded if your science fiction gets a little bit crazy, like Kang traveling, the time stream and the multiverse. Like that's a little more out there. But I think that the grounded also is in reference to how big of a leap you have to take with the science fiction. So those are the things you want to
Great
think.
explanation.
Yeah.
I'm gonna clip that as well for the idiots that everyone talk about grounded. I feel like me and you guys have two different viewpoints on what grounded means because I consider Captain America the First Avenger and the Winter Soldier as grounded movies. Same with Black Panther and Homecoming. Jerry and I we literally did talk about how we do think that that the first Avenger and those are grounded films.
I don't know about that because the first Avenger, like, bro, an alien army coming through a portal to Earth, like, that's a little out there.
No. He's saying Captain America 1.
Oh, yeah, Captain America 1's not. I mean, there are some elements that
There's
are.
the Tesseract, but it's nothing like too crazy.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah, other than that, like, it's not that crazy.
Yeah, and Winter Soldier's pretty much like super street level. So
yeah,
that's my new word, street level. Street level.
Right.
All right. I only knew Carol Avengers EMH and Superhero Squad show. Yeah, dude, for real, dude. By the way, that version of Captain Marvel is fire. By the way,
Yeah. By the
mostly
way,
because
this is why, like, it's not a good idea. I know there are a lot of fans who like Brie Larson's like socio-political stances, but what you have to understand is that not everyone does. So when she goes on stage and arrogantly makes socio-political comments that a ton of people don't like, that's going to impact her favorability and ultimately how people think of her moving forward in the role that they're watching her. So,
yep.
Not everyone's like us where we could like put that aside, watch the movie and enjoy it. And there are a lot of people who will never like Brie Larson because of the things she said.
By the way,
if you agree with them, I think you should be able to understand that.
By the way, from a practical standpoint, I would love to see whoever big of that. I would love to see you walk into your workplace and talk about your politics to see where that gets you.
Yeah,
because you violate contracts and things like that you sign for when you get these jobs, when you do stuff like that. By the way, and by the way, when it comes to Carol Danvers, bro, I grew up on the female Captain Marvel having a black suit with the sleeveless. Like that's the Captain Marvel I grew up on. I didn't grow up on this Carol. But I mean, she. Except when it comes to
I want to wait real quick. I want to go back to one thing on the Captain Marvel thing. And again, regardless what you think of Brie Larson's Carol Danvers portrayal, or Captain Marvel as a whole, you cannot deny what I'm about to say because this is factual. The MCU in 2017 or 2018, whatever it was, when they released Captain Marvel, they said that she is the next big thing for the MCU. She was the plan. They were going to center the MCU completely around her. And she's the most powerful Avenger by far. They never did any of that. And there's a reason for it. It didn't work out. And I'm just saying, when you make those kinds of comments, it impacts it. Okay.
Yeah.
And it didn't work. And, listen, they haven't fully abandoned it. They put out the Marvels last year. But it didn't perform. And that's going to impact her future in the MCU. That's why you don't take missteps like that for no reason. She had nothing to gain by making those comments, only things to lose, and she lost them.
Yeah, and I would like to add on to that. T'Challa, Carol, and Peter were going to be the center of the MCU. And obviously, T'Challa, R.I.P. Chadwick, Sony pulls Spider-Man, and then Carol. And the thing is, like, if you watch those Avengers press runs, you see how uncomfortable they are around Brie Larson.
Yeah.
Because you could tell she was taking because you know how like the Avengers rank on each other. Did you ever people whenever they would joke with Brie, bro, she would take it personal? Like she was just always like the way her personality was, it just didn't fit well with the
original
Avengers cast.
And I think that's an ego thing. Like, I think her making those kinds of comments were an ego thing too. Like, I don't think she was making those comments because she's a righteous person and she's trying to do the right thing. Like saying you don't care about what a bunch of people think of your movie who just bought tickets to see your movie is, that's not a righteous thing to me. It's not inclusive. It's actually pretty exclusive. And, I think you have to have a pretty big ego to think it's okay to say something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And also, Jerry, like as an artist, right, there's a way to stand on your art. Like if you think what you did is fired, no one is mad at you for thinking that you think what you did is great. But when you crap on your fans, like that's the issue. But I do want to talk about the opposite of that, because if you guys remember, an interview went viral when RDJ was in an interview, right? And the interviewer started bringing up RDJ's past of being a drug addict, and RDJ got very uncomfortable because he's like, "We're talking about Avengers. Why are you bringing up?" The fact
I think I remember that interviewer. Was always such a jerk. Too.
But he could have did what Bree did. You know what I mean? And start preaching his politics, but he didn't. He shut his mouth. and let the people let his people handle it.
Right.
And because RDJ knew.
Yeah.
And regardless of what RDJ's politics are, he doesn't like, other than one stupid ad I saw, which was so corny for all of them to do that. They don't really like, when it comes to their press tours, they're not pushing politics. And that's just where I'm kind of at. It's like,
I also don't really think what she said was a political thing. I think it comes from politics, but it was more like a statement of resent for a large group of people.
Yeah. But that's just who she is, dude. But that's just who she is as a person. Like she is that and like and look, guys, I'm not saying that we hate Brie Larson because we don't. We think she's done good as Captain Marvel, and the Marvels was terrible. Like being real. But like that was not cool, man, for it to do that on a public stage. Definitely when this movie is supposed to be for kids, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, dog. Kid, no, bro. No 12-year-old want to hear politics, bro. Just being real, bro.
Yeah.
No 12, 13-year-old, bro. Want to see that. All right. Except when it comes to T'Challa, LOL. I didn't watch Wakanda Forever. Oh my god. No T'Challa, no ticket. Hungry Almighty, you're different. So does RDJ show up in the Fantastic Four first steps? It is rumored, and it's very possible. We think Doom is showing up.
I don't know if I do.
Well, I think Jerry doesn't think anymore. Jerry is week to week, man, when it comes to Dr. Doom, bro.
Yeah. No, I'm hyped about it. I just don't know.
No. I'm just saying about him showing up because you thought he wasn't going to show up when they first announced him. Then last week you were like, yeah.
Now I'm like, I don't know again. Yeah. I'm week to week on that.
I sometimes whisper until you're 90. Yeah, bro, that was funny.
Oh, that's great.
Until you're 90. Because it's low key. The sad thing is because Cosmic Marvel or Captain Marvel, the most powerful Avenger, Hulk and Thor, bro. Captain Marvel washes them, bro.
Yeah, bro. Come on.
Did you not see Endgame when she came in the final battle, bro?
Yeah, and she flew through Thanos' ship. That was insane.
Yeah. And this ain't Rune King Thor. Like, we're not talking about the most powerful Avenger Thor, but I think Captain Marvel wipes a lot of these dudes out here. Yeah, I know. And by the way, technically the most powerful character is Gaia, not Captain Marvel.
Oh, yeah.
Another wasted actress that's an A-list actor that just got wasted. Yeah, I noticed that too. People like Chadwick and his natural charisma made people go watch it. Brie felt nowhere. Like, see what I'm saying? It's aura, bro. It's all about aura, bro. Yeah. Certain people got the aura. Tom Holland got the aura.
By the way, at this point, they definitely regret casting Brie Larson as Carol Danvers. 100%.
Oh yeah.
100%. And I think they're going to start looking at these things like how vocal people are about their politics online, and if they think they are going to have a kind of scandal, they're going to have to start looking at this a lot more closely, and I'm sure they already are, because they don't want another episode like they had with Jonathan Majors,
Gina Carano,
Tenet Huerta, who I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right, with Namor. He had an incident. I think he's fine, and he was ruled to be innocent, if I have that correctly, and they're still working with him. But yeah, Gina Carano, and Rachel Zegler. The list goes on. Disney's no stranger to it, and they are definitely going to be proactive in avoiding casting people that make those mistakes.
100%. I mean, Pedro spoke out when the whole Gina Carano thing happened. His mouth's been shut ever since. Because Pedro had that PR person say, "Yeah, you shut your mouth."
Yeah, because he made some similar comments too. Not similar, but I remember he made comments too, and Gina Carano raised the point that he did, and he was fine, which was an interesting point. She's probably not wrong.
Yeah, Pedro was the one that told Gina to chill. He was like, "Relax, like don't speak out." Yeah. And Gina was like, "So you're telling me to silence?" And so then Pedro. I'm not gonna get to about Pedro, but Pedro made the smart decision to shut up. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm saying. You gotta learn to shut up. Brie Larson was taking on her anger on Thanos for real. All right, I'm gonna read these last two chats, and we're getting late. MCU Captain Marvel, comic Hulk and Thor easy. Captain Marvel best feat Hulk and Thor do on a consistent basis. Exactly. MCU Captain Marvel's unstoppable. Or the mess actor who plays Kamala dad had gone. Okay, I'm getting off the show. We're getting out of here. We love you guys. We hope you guys during 2 hours. We gave you guys 2 hours this week, man. We just how you know we love you guys. Have a really good week, man. We'll be on next week. Yeah, man. If any news comes out, we'll jump on record. But if not, we'll see you guys in the next week. Have a wonderful day and subscribe to our channel, Fantasy Cuts. Changing the name to Spectrum Cuts. We're waiting on the logo. It's been about a week or so. So once that logo gets here, you'll see a whole new brand change. But follow that page, Fantasy Cuts, because that's where you'll see action movies. You'll see fantasy movie covering all type stuff. So that is our future. That is our future like channel in regards to like all of the other stuff. Can't wait for the next one. Hey, thank you. Not again. 90. We'll see you next week, dog. Have a great week, y'all. Peace out.
Peace.